called in the officer. I thought it was in my apartment, and I shot a guy thinking that he was thinking it was my apartment. He shot someone. Yes, I thought it was my apartment. Oh my God. I thought it was my apartment. 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 I was on the third floor. It was my apartment. It was my apartment. It was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. No. I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. Hey guys, they're coming to us. I'm sorry, man. Okay, where was he shot? He's on the top left. I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment. Holy I thought it was my apartment. Oh my God. I thought they were my apartment. I thought this was my floor.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott.
And I'm Michael Ayala. Now to a story that made national headlines when a white Dallas police officer shot and killed a black man after she accidentally went into his apartment thinking that it was hers. Amber Guyger shot Botham Jean to death in September of 2018, sparking protests around the city. Now, after serving only part of her 10-year sentence, she's eligible for parole. She served 5 of the years. Ironically, this comes on what would have been Botham Jean's 33rd birthday. During her trial, she testified about what happened, saying she was scared and she thought he was going to kill her.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, please.
When you pulled your weapon at night and you fired, why did you fire?
I was scared. Whoever was inside my apartment was gonna kill me. And I'm sorry. I have to live with that every single day that I hurt. No police officer ever would want to hurt an innocent person.
I have my gun pointed, and I'm saying, let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
What were you focused on?
Him.
What did the figure do after you said, let me see your hands?
He started coming towards me.
I feel like a terrible person. I feel like a piece of crap. I hate that I have to live with this every single day of my life. And I ask God for forgiveness, and I hate myself every single day. I wish he was the one with the gun that killed me. I never wanted to take an innocent person's life.
When you aimed and pulled the trigger at Mr. Jean, shooting him in center mass exactly where you are trained, you intended to kill Mr. Jean.
I did.
Why would you try and do a little CPR on a man who's dying who needs your full attention?
Because I had to keep getting up to see where I was at.
That was more important than giving life-saving help to this man.
I had no idea where I was at.
You were able to tell the 911 call taker very, very soon on that you were in apartment 1478. After that moment, why couldn't you have given him full, undivided, and proper attention?
I was still on the phone with...
You can put the phone on speakerphone, ma'am.
I had so much stuff racing through my head.
Can you imagine Mr. Jean's perspective, an intruder barging into his apartment, somebody on the other side of that door being you, going in with the purpose of finding the threat and taking care of it, and then having been shot and fallen and being alone in that apartment? Can't you imagine that being a little bit scarier than you just being alone at the moment?
Yes, sir, I can.
Mr. Jean is lying on a stretcher being carried by paramedics, right?
Yes, sir.
You can see what you've done. The second he's passed, what do you go do again?
I looked at my phone because I didn't want to see his body.
This family is thinking about having to bury their son and their brother. 2 days after the event, you are already going back to talking about getting drunk and doing sexual things with Martin Rivera.
Yes, I did.
What was he doing when you fired the shot?
He was just moving, advanced towards me whenever I shot the first 2 shots where he ended up falling down.
And why did you shoot?
Because I was scared that he was going to come at me and kill me.
That was your reason?
Yes, sir. I was scared, and I thought he was advancing towards me. He had a weapon.
Well, Guyger was eventually found guilty of murder and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Now, before her sentence was handed down, it was the words and actions of Jean's younger brother that brought many to the courtroom in tears, including the judge and Guyger.
I hope you go to God with all the guilt, all the bad things you may have done in the past. Each and every one of us may have done something that we're not supposed to do. If you truly are sorry, I know I can speak for myself. I forgive you. And I know if you go to God and ask him, he will forgive you. I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? Please?
Yes.
And no date has been given yet on when Guyger will go before the parole board.
All right, let's bring back in our guest, still with us, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Marie Pereira. Marie, that hug, I mean, it caught everyone's attention. There was even a hug from the judge. Judge came down and hugged her as well. I don't think any one of us can question her remorse under these circumstances, but this jury saw fit to convict her of murder. What do you make of her opportunity coming up, at least we believe it's coming up, for possibility of parole?
I think she has an excellent opportunity because one of the things that the parole board is looking at is, does the person have a criminal history? Are they a recidivist? Are they remorseful? And is the family okay with it? They do take those things into account. And the fact that his little brother could hug her like that and tell her, I forgive you, go to God and ask God for forgiveness was beyond touching. And I think that is going to help her with the parole board. Parole is discretionary. So yes, a person on a parole board does have a heart and could use empathy. And to see, is she a menace to society still at this point? She has a lot going for her here with the #1 reason that she may get this parole is that hug right there and the forgiveness of his family.
That's true, but I'm going to push back because 5 years for murder. At the end of the day, if she gets parole, 5 years served for a murder conviction. We don't see that very often.
But you have to look at the circumstances of the crime. I do believe that she made a mistake and went into his apartment. Does her upbringing and maybe her own internal racial bias have something to do with how she reacted to him? Being a young black man, her fear perhaps made her overreact, but there was no intentionality there. I don't believe she went in there and shot him on purpose. That's not disputed. People make mistakes and it was tragic. But I'll say again, the way that the brother forgave her and hugged her will have a lot to do with what goes on during that parole hearing, and I think she will be paroled.
Yeah, like it or not, I mean, they went through a sentencing hearing and came up with 10 years with possibility of parole after 5.
That's a good point.
Right?
You're
so
right.
that's what
the
they
sentence.
decided was appropriate under these circumstances, again, taking into account a lot of the things that Marie just mentioned. And let's go over it. I think essentially when I looked it up, in Texas, the parole board will look at behavior while she's incarcerated. I can't imagine she was much of a problem, at least I'm assuming she's not. The likelihood of reoffending, you mentioned that, and also victim input. They will get the opportunity to testify or send in letters, however they decide to deal with it, to her parole hearing. So she's got that on her side, at least one would imagine, if those sentiments stay the same. The behavior was probably solid. The likelihood of reoffending. You said you don't think she's likely to reoffend? Why not?
Because she did not go into this to do it on purpose. She made a mistake. She went into the wrong apartment. How that happened, I don't know. But she didn't set out to do this. This was a tragedy. And I don't see her going out and being reckless and going into somebody else's apartment or judging somebody and pulling out a gun and shooting somebody without justification. I don't see that. Although you know, looking at her during the cross-examination, she did switch it up and she looked rather evil and callous. And then one moment she was sobbing, I wish it was me, and I took the bullet. And then on cross-examination, she was like, yeah, I shot him, center mass, da-da-da-da. She really looked kind of shady there.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say quickly. You know, it was a gun offense. It was a violent offense. And it was recklessness that caused death. Her reaction to the situation, and that was some of the cross-examination, was she could have reacted very differently and he'd still be alive. So that would worry me as far as the possibility of reoffending. Not that she's going to go out wanting to kill people, but that she doesn't handle situations like this, stressful, well.
I think that this is going to live with her forever. I think that it did not go away after 5 or 10 years in jail for her to say, I've served my time. Not that it would go away, but I've served my time, so I do feel a little bit at peace. I just feel like this is going to eat her up for the rest of her life, no matter where she is.
I do too.
All right.